Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Ford Craves podcast. Today we have the most beautiful Ah-Niyah Gold.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So she's a CEO of Gold Consulting and the Director of Communication for Black Fashion Fair. She is killing it, doing it, everything. You should. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a week. I wasn't feeling well, but we're feeling a lot better. Energy's back.
Yeah.
I was saying it's like the end of the year, so it's just that time to like reflect, kind of get organized for next year. It's definitely going to be a very different kind of year for me and a big one. So I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
So basically, like, I remember meeting you at Omar's Kitchen, and then
shout out to Omar.
Shout out to my boss. And then I remember us going to, I was interning at Brandon Blackwood. I remember you being there, and you were just talking to us about what you're doing at such a young age. Yes, you are very young. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just so inspired because you built a company from the ground up, and it seems like it's successful in my opinion. And I mean, honestly, just kudos to you and congratulations.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I remember meeting you and I was like, it was you and oh my goodness, I forgot what.
Kendall,
so sweet. And I was just like, oh my God, you guys are adorable. And you guys actually spoke. A lot of people are like very intimidated. I'm like, I don't know why.
No, I was
but you guys actually like were really, really cool and had like a lot of like questions and whatnot. And so it was really nice to work alongside you guys while I was there.
Yeah, I wanted to learn so much. Obviously we were in that environment, but I was just trying to get so much insight as much as possible. So you
soak
definitely
everything
provided
up.
that.
Yeah, it was definitely like the way that the office was set up. It was so many, like I feel like everyone worked in close proximity. So it was just kind of like you either came in and you were a sponge and you were able to take away as much as you could, it was definitely set up to be that way. So I'm glad we were able to meet there. I love that.
Yes. Well, we're going to get into the questions.
Yes.
We're going to get into a lot of like your journey and fashion consulting, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
So how did your fashion consulting like journey begin?
So I have been in the industry for about going on 10 years now. Which is crazy. And I started immediately out of high school. I kind of already knew I wanted to be like in fashion in some shape, way or form. But at the same time, I was still like trying to figure out like college and what that looks like, if that was a road that I wanted to take. Ended up not being the case. But I actually started as an event producer. And that started from my first internship. I kind of just jumped right into it at Factory PR. Shout out to Factory PR. It was a really great place. And that was where I met my first boss who hired me, Brittany Escovedo. And she kind of just really brought me in, her and Dawn, who was like her number 2 at the time, and just taught me so much. I already kind of had like a production, like no background from like acting and whatnot.
Right.
So it was kind of easy to jump in and kind of learn and do what they needed me to do. And I was just all ears and like, as Dawn would have called me, very doe-eye, bushy-tailed. Which at first I thought, I was like, is that a bad thing? Because it was kind of, no, at first, at that time, like I came in, it was like very, it was like the tail end of like the Lauren Conrad, Kelly Catrone, Hills City era of fashion. We were in pencil skirts, high heels, and running around Manhattan.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah. So that was that at the time. And I'm grateful because even like my boss at the time, she was that, but then she would also like be in her sneakers and things like that. And I was like, oh yes, like a real person actually. So I did that for about 4 years. And she actually ended up hiring me out of my internship. I was freelancing with her for a little bit. She saw my potential and she actually started her own company. Beyond 8, a Black woman-led own company. So that was kind of like my inspiration, I guess, initially before I even knew, I was going to start Gold, which was amazing. And working with her really changed my life once again. And we worked with so many amazing clients. My first runway show ever was Betsy Johnson, which was just like iconic for me. And it's so funny because I look at the memories and I look at the pictures on my phone and I remember just kind of how excited I was. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is exactly where I need to be. And from then I was obviously working with a lot of publicists and their fashion clients at the time. And I realized that I really liked talking and speaking and really kind of figuring out like what their messaging was and just knowing more about them. And my boss at the time, she saw it as well. So she kind of put me on the more client facing side of the production. So I would be like working the door. I'd be, doing like escorting like the talent or whatever the case may be, just anything that was really like the comm side of things. So that kind of ushered me really into it, which was really, really sweet. And I guess she kind of saw my potential in the area before I could. And eventually, things happened. I ended up having to get laid off, but she did help me transition into PR full time. It was kind of like dreams realized, which I'm really grateful for. And that was the beginning of my journey.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You went through all that to get to this place.
Right.
And even so, like, I think it's amazing that you were so consistent and you chased after something that may seem kind of insurmountable because it's so competitive, but you still did it either way.
Yeah, I think I learned that at a young age that like nothing is out of my reach.
Right, exactly.
Especially because I wouldn't say I did the impossible, but I guess just like starting even like with my like acting. So when I was 10, I grew up like, dancing, all, singing in church, choir, all that stuff. I was very, very creative and I just loved the arts per se. But I can't really say, I wouldn't really call it like training per se. I would now, but at the time I was just like, I was doing the things that I loved. Like I wasn't operating from that mindset. I was a kid. And my mom was just like, hey, like, I saw this audition in the Penny Saver. Do you want to go? I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm good. Because I distinctly remember it was very cold that day. For once, I did not have a lot to do. Mind you, I'm 10. I'm like, oh no, I finally have like a day off because, we dance every day, cheer, whatever. So I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, and it was cold outside. And it was, again, around this time of the year. So I'm like, ooh, I'm seeing a pattern here now. And I'm like older. I'm like, this time of the year, I just want to be like,
you just want to be left alone.
I just want to be chill. But I was like, eventually, maybe a couple hours later, I was like, you know what? Sure, let's go. So we had to NJ Pack. It was an open call, literally kids, adults, like you name it, all ages. And it was freezing. It was, I felt like, honestly, the reason I did it, I was like, ooh, this is going to be like American Idol.
It wasn't like American Idol. Oh my God.
It was like American Idol on like steroids because you get there and people were literally dressed like characters like from the show. And I was like, y'all are grown.
They take this seriously.
Y'all are adults.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'm like, I wasn't freaked out, but I just honestly, like, I was genuinely like, I was enjoying myself. And yeah, so I went through the experience. I didn't know what to expect. Kept getting like called back and I was like, okay, like this was cool. And before I knew it, I had made it to the end of the day and I was one of the few like kids left. And they were like, okay, like great. Like we really like her. We're going to move her into callbacks in Manhattan, literally right up the street at Ripley Greer. I was like, okay, like again, still not knowing.
Like, okay,
no, because I really did not know, like, not what was going on. I was definitely attentive to the experience, but I really just didn't know what to expect. Like, my mom was not. I was not a show kid by any means. She wasn't a show mom at all, which ended up working out in my favor, I'll say. And yeah, I ended up getting called back. That was November of like 2008.
Oh.
November of 2007. No, I'm sorry. 2007.
Okay.
Forgive me. I might be a little off by like a year, but it was either like November of 2007 or 2008. And I made it through that full process. And by then I had gotten an offer to leave to go on tour with the Lion King in April of 2009 or 8. Wow. So it was a very short process, which also a lot of people were like, are you kidding me? Because even going through like Cub School, as they call it, I ended up meeting some of our favorite actresses today, which is so funny. And we were kind of all going through the process together. But like, we'd be talking to each other and like asking each other questions and whatnot. And they're like, well, how many times did you audition for this? I was like, girl, this is my first time. What you mean? I'm like, how many times can you audition for this? I'm like, this is a thing. She's like, yeah, it's like my third or like fourth time, like multiple, like just you met so many different personalities. So I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. What is going on?
Just here. How did I get here?
I'm literally just going with the flow. But through that, like I kind of started connecting with a few of the Cubs. And sure enough, it luckily ended up being the Cubs that I ended up like being on tour with, which we didn't find out until like closer to when we started doing like fittings and things. So that was that. But yeah, just again, having that like mindset kind of just built very naturally and organically. And you really do have to kind of be prepared for everything. And honestly, like that's impossible. You can't always be prepared for everything, but it really is, how you attack it and how you bounce back and how you move forward.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I was even going to ask too, like, how is that, doing acting, how are you able to balance that while also just kind of just being a child? Because I'm pretty sure you had friends that were like, oh, it was weird. I won't even lie because I didn't go to middle school. I missed kind of like parts of high school. And the only way I could keep up with people was like MySpace. Facebook kind of just started out. So like, but Facebook at the time when I had launched was like, it was like, oh no, this is for older people. Like this is for the adults. Like, I'm like, God, please. No. But so like eventually like things crossed over to Facebook. Yeah. But it was really like MySpace and I had my BlackBerry. So what was that? BBM. Like you were saying, as a creative, like we have to be stimulated. We have to be doing something to make sure to just keep our juices flowing and just keep our minds open. So it's funny. I'm like, truly, I think like, people say, I want to say like their like high school years really feel like they found themselves. I definitely found myself way before that, much younger, which I'm grateful for. Cause again, it's just kind of helped me continue to grow and navigate things probably and see the world just differently than a lot of people. Yeah, because you were kind of forced in that way to do that. Oh yeah, no, the exposure in general was crazy because Lion King was such a melting pot. And even though like I'm from New York, I'm from Long Island, I'm from Hempstead, I was exposed, but I was still very limited per se. But like a lot of things like that I experienced or like that I knew, I'm like, okay, like I seen this on TV, but like I never like really got to see it in real life. And that was really what it was with Lion King. It was fabulous. So it was just like, okay, like great, like that's who you are. And it was really beautiful to just kind of be a part of it and gain that experience and learn more without it feeling like odd or like any other like weird pressures, from the, how the world, we know how the world is. Exactly. Just the ignorance was removed. Right. That's the best way to put it. The ignorance was removed and it was just love. And that was really special and that's really important. I think I lead with a lot of that just in all aspects of what I do today. That's definitely a very imperative thing, is to be in an environment where it is full of love, because I know like how the fashion industry is, how the acting industry is, how most of these industries are full of a lot of negative things. Yes. So when you do find that environment, it's like you got to soak it all in and just really cherish it. Not even to toot the horn, but I feel like theater is just that. And I think that's why my heart and my love is just always with theater, because I think that's just what it was built off of in the first place. Just expressionalism and just being yourself and come as you are, truly come as you are. So again, like having that like foundation
just really can help build somebody up and just honestly go through the world a little bit easier. Yeah. So I felt like that was what theater was for me.
Theater kids are the best people to be around.
They're just the best.
You start busting out a song out of nowhere and you'll just be
truly.
Like,
and even when I was in school, it was so funny because I was, when I did return home, and, you know, kind of went back to like, you know, normalcy, whatever that looked like. I still was like, all right, I got to do everything. So just because I wanted to, I was like, okay, well, I'm back. I'm here. What can I do? What does school have to offer me? Right. So I was a cheerleader. I was a theater kid. I was a choir kid. I played lacrosse. I played badminton. I'm like, I don't even know what else I can fit on my plate right now, but I'm going to do it.
You can do
because I can. Yeah. But like just literally being like, again, multifaceted. Like I'm gonna do it all while I'm still mobile because
you can.
I'm like, I got my 2 feet and I got my hands and I can still move around and be a little bit free and I'm not old. Yes, let's do it.
You can.
You know,
not? You only live once.
Exactly.
That's what I always tell people, and they're like, I don't know. I feel like I should do this, and I'm like, what are you waiting for? Yeah. What are you waiting for Christmas? Well, that's in a week, but you know,
it's gonna come at the end of the day gonna end.
Exactly. So just do what you gotta do and put your mind to it. I think a lot of times people have this idea, but what prevents them from executing it is like the what ifs.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Well, and I'm sure we'll get into that because definitely, I will say not the what ifs, but I think just like the pressure of the one box it eventually caught up to me, and it kind of just like made me cut out a lot of other things for a little bit, and then I just kind of woke up one day and realized I'm like, who am I? What happened? And like really, I think for quite a period of time, I was just like trying to like sit and like remember like who I was, reflecting and like, okay, like when was I happiest and when I was happiest, like what was I doing? Like literally I went into like my own like little like therapy mode. Like, okay, like I have to ask myself these questions because it's so easy to like just kind of go through life. Right. You know, your heart posture wasn't set up in the way that you wanted it to be, or you just did it like, you're like, damn, I could have did that yesterday and I really just didn't.
Every day should be lit with some type of intention, towards your purpose. Yeah. And I think that is the great thing about like, even just having a good person to also give you that advice as well. You know, for me, I know it's like my mom and, you know, people in my life that tell me just keep on going because it can get hard, especially you don't have that like right support system. You know, and that kind of drives me into the next question is like, who is the person that inspired you to have this drive? Because unless it was just your experiences, but if there's a person that you have.
Oh man. I mean, of course it started with my mother. She is just like a superhero in my eyes. I'm like, what am I about to be 28? So she had
You're
me
20.
when 20 yes. So she had me when she was 23 and I have an older sister who she had when she was 16. And I'm like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, how did you do this? I'm like, if I had a kid now, I would still be a teen mother in my eyes. Like, I would still be a teen mother. So I don't understand how you were able to raise both myself and my sister as a single mom. Unfortunately, my dad passed when I was 1. So really, she was just like on her own as a mom, and she was very independent. You know, my family was supportive. She did have that, but she was like, these are my kids. My responsibility. I'm going to do it. And she did. And she did a phenomenal job. And I just like look at her with like so much admiration. And then it's so funny because even now I'm like, oh, she was just a girl. Like my mom was literally just a girl trying to figure it out with 2 kids on top of that. And I'm like, that's just another level of strength that I felt like I was able to kind of just like get from her. Having my mom obviously first, and just like family, like they really have continued up to this very day to just carry me through and see me through all of my transitions, which has been exciting, and I'm really grateful for them. So they're all my little heroes.
Aw, that's cute. What is like the biggest challenge that you had to face when starting your consulting business, and how did you overcome it?
I mean, just being a Black woman in fashion in general is a challenge. Being a Black anything in fashion,
oh yeah,
is challenging. And just like the lack of opportunity in general, just the lack of knowledge that is offered to us as a whole. Like again, if I like didn't, thank God for my internship, thank God for Brittany and the team, and just being able to have that opportunity that I did, because I learned so much. And I learned about so many other jobs that I didn't even know existed. I started like working freelance for some brands and just like taking on like small projects. And like I said, one thing about me, I am never afraid to try something, or I'm never afraid to pivot. So crazy enough, I literally got offered a role like the day before the world shut down.
What?
I'm not even kidding. I was in the office and everything, and we were like, I was talking to the lady at the time. She was like, oh yeah, like, are you seeing this COVID stuff? Like, yeah. I was like, I'm not really sure what's going on with it, but we were all like, under the impression, oh, 2 weeks.
That 2 weeks.
I was like, even to this day, I hear 2 weeks and I start
like, what?
Panicking. Like, it's kind of like a PTSD response, because like, there's just no way that 2 weeks turn into damn near
like
2
a year.
I'm like, oh my gosh, like the power of the tongue. But she actually reached out to me later down the line in the year. I definitely lied about my experience significantly. No. But not in the sense of like, oh, they thought I knew more. I completely dummied myself down. It was essentially like an intern role. But I did it on purpose because I wanted the experience of working in an LA showroom. I wanted the experience of award season in LA. But it wasn't even about that. And I think, again, just kind of having that mindset of always like being a student. And I knew it was going to be an opportunity that I, could make a little extra money from. Right. I was in LA, and we were, I was really able to gain that experience that I felt that I was missing. So it was good for me. And
so what you're saying is lie about your experience.
Not lie per se, but
so
it's okay to the job. It's okay, like, because by then, like, I had already been like a senior role. I've literally run full accounts by myself. So for me to really put myself into that space, it was like completely just like stripping myself of like all of that authority. Yeah. But I knew obviously I could be of great support, and I was obviously really good at the job. Literally, like, eventually somebody was like, okay, great. Like, what is the name of like your company, by the way? And I was like, the name of my what? And my boyfriend who I was dating at the time, I'm like, oh my God, like, what is happening right now? I'm like, okay, do I have like a business? Yeah. I'm like, wait, I need like a logo. So like he made my first logo at the time. If I actually stopped and thought about it, it probably would have taken me much longer to do so. And like a psychopath, it was literally in the pandemic. I'm like, oh my God. So it was just like, all right, like, if there was a time to just kind of wild out, do it. Just do it for the plot. Right. It was certainly 2020. And it was, luckily, I mean, I'll say my little plot line. It did it. It was watchable. Is now, a full-blown saga. So it just was like one of those things that I just kind of threw myself into. And by the grace of God and just like my determination, and I think also just really knowing my why and who I was helping, and with a lot of prayer, the opportunities just kind of like, they just felt divine. Yeah, hit me like a bus.
Yes, you made a name for yourself, and that's what matters, especially probably in a room of people that, like you said, they're them. And also just being taken seriously. I think also I was 23 when I started my company, and it was just like, okay, like, who is this? Who is this? Right. Like, who is this? Who are you? At the time, I definitely was the only, I did not have any peers that was
really focusing and dialed in and starting their own like agency in the way that I did. So really just trying to figure out like how to be a boss.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot. And I think that was also probably like one of the harder things to deal with. It's like, okay, like it is just me and like I have to deal with everything, whatever it looks like, the good, the bad, the ugly, like this is mine. I have to take care of it. So
I think even like as Black women, we're always taught that we have to be very independent. And like, I remember like I went to FIT and I was the only Black person in most of my classes, but I also had to make a name for myself and say, you know, my name is Brooke and you guys will know my name. Right. Not known as the only Black girl in the class, you know? Right. And we have to advocate for ourselves no matter what environment we're in. Yeah. But I think it's so beautiful when we have the confidence to do that every single time.
Some days I didn't. It was definitely some days I just, you know, faked it till I made it. But I think what really carried me through was knowing the people that I was helping in the end. And, you know, it wasn't really about me. So that was the shield that I was able to hide behind. Just having that level of transparency with one another. It also just kind of helps me figure out, okay, like this is what you need. Like this is, you know, what we need to do. Like, okay, we need to introduce you to this person, or we need to even pause for a moment so that you can focus on X, Y, and Z. I'm a lot of people's first. So really just kind of understanding like, okay, great. This is what it is. Yeah. Tell me where you're at. You know, and this is kind of like where we could start. So I think it's just a very thoughtful process.
Well, I know exactly who to call when I need help.
Yes.
What has been your favorite project so far this year? And what has it taught you as a consultant?
I'm like, this year? It's like a blur. Oh, okay. Definitely. So I did the Moalola show in London this past Fashion Week. I did not know what to expect. I had done London Fashion Week before, but this was the definitely the biggest, definitely the quickest turnaround that I've had. But I think just like being able to like jump in and immerse myself with the team and just also some of our London associates, it was amazing. I think like Moa in general is just like an incredible human, and I love her mind and her brain, and it's so fun to just kind of like watch somebody innovate and really, again, like not care. Working with clients who are just like that. So yeah, I'm just like, okay, I got a pattern going on here.
Yeah. Keep it going, girl.
No, I love it.
So when it comes to like growing your business, what strategies do you feel like are most effective? I know networking obviously is a really big part, but you know, I know there's definitely a lot more.
Honestly, I will say a business plan. And I didn't start with a business plan, and I never really had one, honestly, up until like earlier this year. Like I just started because I didn't know. Like I didn't come from like a family of like entrepreneurs. I didn't come from like anyone that was like operating in that space. So I think the biggest thing that I had to learn was not only how to like be, you know, a boss and, you know, good at my job, but also like be a business owner. And there's so many things like that of that are just like, you know, if you don't know, you really don't know. So it's like, okay, like I have to be an LLC or like taxes or okay, like a business bank account. Like there's so many like small things that I really had to like learn. And I'm grateful that I did have like peers around me that really, you know, kind of already established themselves and could, you know, give me some insight onto like the things that I needed. But ultimately, like there was so much that I needed to learn. And I didn't always get it right, and definitely had to learn some lessons because some things just like didn't go right, which happens. But I think again, like a business plan, having some sort of idea of just like getting help. I didn't even know like who could help me, what that could look like, getting like a business consultant. Like at this point, I have to just learn, and it's just going to have to be trial and error. Understanding, I'm like, that's kind of just what comes with the territory.
A lot of people tend to be a little discouraged when it comes to hearing a lot of no's and seeing that it comes with a lot of obstacles. And then they tend to want to give up.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't
I've had my
give
days. I've definitely had my days where I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm not about to, I can't do this anymore.
It's not worth it.
Like, I'm not, no, seriously, I'm like, is this worth it? And I think even just like, cause I'm like, well, this is certainly the road less traveled. And then like looking around and like seeing my friends and like, I'm like, oh, you guys are so happy. I could have just went and been a nurse. And or like, oh my God, like you just got married or you just had a kid. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that for you. And, but you know, you're happy.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, what is missing here? Like, what is the, I'm like, what is the missing link here? Or, like, what did it say? Comparison is the thief of joy.
It is. Because your life is your life.
Yeah.
It's like whatever is meant for that person was meant for them.
Yeah.
And clearly you had an idea for a reason.
Yeah.
And you had the motivation to execute it for a reason.
Yeah.
There's no reason like why it's just like, oh, I'm just going to do this just because. No.
Yeah. So, and I think just again, being an entrepreneur, choosing that path wasn't like normal.
Yeah.
So again, it wasn't anything I could really turn to people for, or even if I had a question, I'm like, oh God, who would even help? Who would even know how to help? Like I said, I'm still the biggest student. I'm learning new things every day. But all, things that are gonna make me better and have made me better in the long run for sure.
How do you make time for yourself, while balancing all this?
I've been terrible at it. But that's been what a lot of like this time period and also what like 2025 has looked like. So admittedly enough, like all of my plans for 2025 have nothing to do with that I have currently have nothing to do with my job, which I'm super excited about because I always would operate from a place of my clients' needs first. And, I would use this time now to be like, 2025 strategy. And I was like, no, I'm just going to do that at the top of the year. But it's probably like going to be the most fulfilling. And I'm like excited to like be able to do things for me while also doing, the job that I do love.
So the word of the year is no.
Yes.
If you don't want to do it, it's no.
No. It's a no. Or it's just like, I don't have the capacity to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was operating from a place of like just overextending myself. The cup was empty. So that's what I'm most excited about is the fact that I was able to just like, okay, we got to pause this. I need to figure out what this looks like. What are going to be best practices and how do we move forward and comfortably and just, and using 2025 to really show myself that it is possible to do it all.
I'm very curious because we've talked a lot about your work, but who is Ah-Niyah outside of work? What do you like to do for fun?
Oh my goodness. Ah-Niyah out of work is a very sleepy, tired girl. I'm always sleeping. No, I'm kidding. But no, I do like to just like spend a lot of time alone. I'm definitely like a heavy thinker. I am a theater girl, like by trade, literally. And just spending time with the people that I love. Hopefully go on my first vacation ever. Would love to do that.
Your first vacation?
Never been on a vacation. No. I've only traveled for work, honey.
What?
Yes. I would love to go.
So you've never been like outside the country?
No, I've traveled all over the world, but I've only been there for work.
Well, that was stupid. You never, for a vacation?
No, like actually like booked a flight and was like, hey, I'm out of here like for a vacation. No, I've never had the time for that.
Well, you need a Bahamas trip.
I need a
Jamaica trip.
I'm like, I'll take even a little week in Miami. Yeah. Something.
No, you need to go to an actual.
I know.
Like,
I just need to just do. I think I need to start small. Like I just need to like build myself up. Like that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, let me just start here and then I can just take it there. But no, I've just been so busy my whole life. So yeah, I'm excited to do all of the things.
Take that vacation. Take it for 2 months.
I'm like, at this point, I need to do something. But no, definitely. I'm I'm sure people, even like, I'm sure people close to me will definitely be able to see a shift in just me in general.
For your 21st birthday.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go drink my first Mai Tai ever on a beach somewhere.
So proud of you.
Yes. 21.
What advice would you give to anybody watching that wants to get into the fashion industry in general or just consulting?
Yeah. I mean, start where you feel like you can. Definitely reach out and connect and shoot a message. Like, honestly, like dry messaging people. I get so many of them. I've connected with so many people that way. Just people that have reached out like, hey, can we connect? Would love to know more about you, or just like how you built yourself. And, if I have time, I'll definitely connect with them and definitely do so. So I think just like starting there, also just, again, being a student, like it's okay to be an intern. Yeah. It is okay to do your research, being a seeker of knowledge, and utilizing platforms. I think we're all on social media. We're all literally, there is a professional, on one of these platforms. You just have to do your research and find them, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Threads, which I've been loving lately.
Threads is that girl.
I am a Threads girl. Actually, I don't even have Twitter anymore, and that was
better
crazy.
Than Twitter, in my opinion.
Because I was a Twitter head. I had Twitter since I was like 13. Terrible. But no, I love Threads. Of course, Instagram, LinkedIn, which is really becoming a thing. But yeah, and just even a good old email.
Are there certain people, 3 people, you want to give your flowers to other than yourself?
Oh, man. Yes. So definitely my first employee, Liv. She is amazing. She's no longer with me. She is in another field at another agency. I'm so proud of her. You got to meet her.
Vividly remember.
Yeah, definitely want to give her flowers. I just love just kind of seeing like how much she's grown, and just her tenacity. I've always admired from the moment that she reached out to me, because even as an intern, she reached out and she was like, "Do you need help?" I was like, no. But it was because I hadn't had any interns. I hadn't had any help at the time. And I also wasn't really sure what A Gold was or what I wanted it to be. So I didn't want to really bring anyone on, because we were just been looking at each other. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with you. I've had interns before, but not in that capacity. It was always just kind of like a trickle effect as far as like, who I was working with. So just kind of having my own, it was like, I don't want to be responsible for anybody yet. But she was just like, I think I can really help you. And she just kind of hit the ground running and put her best foot forward from the day one. And literally stuck with me for almost 3.5 years now, like literally from the beginning. And literally that roller coaster, she was on it with me. She rode it and like really kind of took the same punches that I had to, and was just as understanding. And I think it takes a special kind of person to work with in a startup, to work with an entrepreneur, and really continue to push through. So, and I think she's just amazing now at what she does, and just kind of watching her grow from then till now to where she is definitely worth giving her flowers.
Shout out to Liv. Okay.
Shout out to Liv.
Yes.
Another person that I want to give my flowers to. Who's doing it right now that I'm just like in awe of? Another friend of mine, Valissa Vaughn, she has her own PR agency as well. It's called JXV Collective. Shout out to her and Jay. They're just 2 amazing Black women as well, and have just been killing it in the space. They represent Law Roach, One Size, the beauty brand, Airbnb, to name a few, and have just been continuing to help push the agenda of us being able to dominate in these spaces and do intentional work, and really bringing the culture to the forefront while being unapologetically themselves. Love both of them dearly, and definitely look to them as an example So definitely want to give them their flowers because I think that they are amazing and just doing incredible work. And I can't wait to see what 2025 has in store for them.
Yeah.
And then who else? There is some. I'm like, oh my goodness. Of course, Antoine from Black Fashion Fair. Yes. My guy, my partner, literally just continuing to just amaze me. I'm in awe every time. We're working on some incredible projects that are happening next year, and just like his mind, and he's such a visionary, and he literally was he was literally the reason why I even started A Gold. He was like the first like client that I ever like worked with, and he brought me on to like do comms and everything, and it truly did catapult everything for me. But again, like his vision, his why really helped me understand like this is, you know, work that not only people need and want, but that it needs to be done. And this is like how we make a difference in our fields and in each other and in our community. And I think Black Fashion Fair, not only it being a resource in a community, it really had like such an impact on my life. And continues to have an impact on my life, because sometimes, some days I'm just like, oh my God, like why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? But then, you know, we're focusing on these projects, and we're just like speaking to one another, and we're just like sending each other like these stories of like, you know, businesses going under, and just, you know, Black businesses, or just in general, just like losing opportunities, or, you know, another opportunity that could have worked here. And it's just like, okay, like this is why we're doing this. Like we have done X, Y, and Z so far, and we put the culture on so much, even with the small amount of time and resources that we've had. And to just kind of see, again, his tenacity and his continued strength in wanting to push this agenda forward and being on the ride with him, it certainly rolls over into my compassion and just like my push for A Gold. So I'm really grateful to have that, because it definitely does kind of feel like the kick in my back that I need when I'm just like, I've had enough. Yeah. So shout out to Antoine, who I love dearly. And yeah, keep being you, because the world needs it.
Yes. Aw, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we are getting into the hot topic questions.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh no. Dun, dun,
no. No. Okay.
Yes.
I know you said you was dating somebody.
Yes.
So how's that going?
Oh my goodness. He's lovely. So it's so funny because we met on Hinge.
Oh.
I couldn't believe it either. Not the app. Like, not the stupid app worked. Yeah. Maybe.
I feel like you can't find anybody who's sexy on Hinge most of the time.
Yeah, I'm still in shock. But yeah, so I was actually this was back in August. So it's still fairly new, but yeah, I knew I was going to London. So I like did the thing where you like put your location there. Cause I was like, let me see what London is hitting for.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just like kind of matched, and we just started talking and like hit it off. And we literally talked for like a month straight of me like leading up to like my trip. And yeah, we met and went on our first date, and it was just kind of like sparks flew. And yeah, we've just kind of been attached since then. And it's been great. I think I'm just a long distance lover. Mm-hmm. I genuinely am. Most of my relationships have been long distance in some shape, way, or form. I do not know why. I think it just works.
Right.
Because I just don't like people like in my face like that 24/7. Mm-hmm. And I think it just gives us time to be independent and live our lives, and then come together and celebrate and be together, and then separate. And then like, it's so funny because my mom is like, well, you know, eventually the long distance is gonna have to
right? close the distance.
And I was
eventually.
Like, yeah, but we're gonna have time to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah.
But no, I'm excited to see where it goes. He's definitely in the 2025 plans. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully we're still figuring out what we're gonna do for New Year's. So maybe we'll spend New Year's together. I don't know. We'll see.
What is like your type in a guy? Like,
my friends say that I date the same guy in different fonts.
Yeah.
I was like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
It's more so that they tend to look alike. I have a type, maybe. I don't think so.
What is the type?
Usually Nigerian.
Okay. We love that.
And usually from the UK, like, or like Africa.
Like
yeah.
a Damston Idris or something.
Very much so.
Or
like very much
a
so.
Burna Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you could, on that, they're all in that list. The Skeptas. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Yes. A man. So they definitely all are a part of the same tribe. Not on purpose.
You trying to be a London guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get over there. But no, I don't know. It's just something about like, I like their values. Most of them are like raised like very like traditional in the sense. And also just are very independent very early on. And I think that just has to do with the way that they were raised. So I think that's like mostly what I'm attracted to, because at least dating in America, for what I've seen, a lot of men are a lot of women are like who are entrepreneurs. It's so hard for us, especially like if you have things going on for yourselves. Like I've run into the issue of men being extremely intimidated by me, extremely jealous, very much like always trying to like, put me on a shelf type thing. And I'm like, what do you
what's wrong with you?
I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even let you do that if I tried. Yeah. I literally have a whole company to run. I literally have so many things to do. Yeah. Like that. It's just not even, that could never be my lifestyle. So yeah, like, and I'm like, and I would never compromise that for anyone, just because like that is something that you seek to do.
Exactly.
Or like some conquest that you're on. Very weird. So yeah, for whatever reason, like whenever I've connected with them, it just was like very like seamless in the sense of like, okay, like great, like we love, very supportive, and like that's all I want. I'm like, I don't need
you just need a supportive man,
right? And I'm like, I don't need the riffraff, the nonsense. Like,
do you have like a height requirement too?
Oh no. I dated a short kink before. No, I'm very much like a feelings, emotions, like connection type of person. Like obviously, I would like for you to be attractive. I need to be attracted to you because. But, whatever that looks like. But no, that's more so what I want. I'm like, I just seek good partnership.
I rarely ever hear that. And people are just like, no, I want someone that is like a basketball player. I'm like, you want, for what reason?
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, of course, it's fine to have your, your preferences or whatever. But I feel like when you, in hindsight, like, I feel like your preferences, like in your like 20s are probably not gonna lead to your husband.
Yeah, probably not. I always tell people
probably
like
not gonna lead to your husband, or it's just like a lot of the things that we grow as people as well. Yeah. Like as women, life requires certain things from us depending on what our calling is. So the way your partner or what kind of partner you need will differ from what you needed when you was just able to club and bop and run around the city and just do your big one, versus having your responsibilities. Like it changes. So I think that having that like kind of checklist, like it's good to have, but like be prepared to change it. Like, or just to like, for it to like sometimes not even be used.
I think it's good to just be open. Like I ain't got no type.
Yeah.
It's just like be open to loving everybody. And anybody.
Cause I'm like, I don't find myself liking people often. So like, I'm like, oh, if I do like you, I'm like, oh, then like you're interesting some way, somehow. And I'm willing to explore that, which I know some people are just like, not like he doesn't, and I'm like, all right, girl, this is why you're in the issues that you're in right now. This is why you're stressed out with somebody's dusty son.
Exactly. Would you ever date like an industry man?
Oh God, I have.
Yeah.
No,
not again.
No. It's just way too much. I mean, I think it's nice to, I think it depends on the like the intersections of our industries, like, cause fashion, I feel like it's just so like,
a lot of models.
It's but also fashion touches so much now. Like fashion is sports, fashion is entertainment, fashion is music, like fashion is tech. So it really is all kind of like crossing over. So I think it just depends on what like capacity. But I think in the way that I was, like there's just certain like no music, no, not really any entertainment. I can't see myself doing it. It's just not.
Is there a specific reason?
It's not desirable. I think I've tried it, and I just think that like the mix of it all, like I want to be able to like turn off, you know, and it's difficult to, I feel like, you know, say for instance, like if I was an actor dating an actor, it's like, oh my God, okay, like you got your stuff going on, I got my stuff going on, and where's the opportunity for us to both like turn off? Because it's like, okay, like I would hate for you to feel like I'm not showing up for you or being supportive as a partner if you got invited to something or, you know, your premiere or whatever the case may be, because I'm
turned off right now.
Tired as hell doing my own thing. So I think kudos, and I admire people that are able to do that. But I understand, like, you know, really you like have to tailor your schedules to one another in a very specific kind of way. It's different from like, you know, just not being in entertainment. So I'm like, I wouldn't want anyone to feel like possibly I wasn't showing up for them, and vice versa. Yeah. So I'd rather avoid it.
I said the same thing too when I was like, I'm not gonna date nobody in the industry no more.
And here it comes. Here it comes. No. I feel like if the pull is there and you guys are able to make it work, I think that's a very beautiful thing.
Last one is, would you ever spin the block, or have you spun the block?
No, I have not spun the block. I think it was like a situation where like we were together and then we like kind of like, not like I guess we broke up, but like never really like left each other alone. So I wouldn't necessarily call that like spinning the block, because like we were still like dealing with one another. Right. It was just more like on and off. But now that isn't the case, and just in general looking at like my like dating history, and then also like what I have planned for me and like what like my like new goals are, no one aligns with what I got going on.
Yes.
No one aligns with that. You know, and again, people change. I'm not saying spinning the block is bad. Like sometimes like, no, I'm saying, and I'm just saying, like I've seen it. Like some people really are able to like grow as people and find each other again. And I think that's beautiful.
Like Ashanti and Nelly.
Yeah, you know, you just never know. Sometimes you really are just so drawn to some people that you're just like, okay, like this just maybe I always used to hate like, oh, like wrong timing, because I really never believed in that. I'm like, how can it be the wrong time? We're supposed to be together. What are you talking about? But no, like genuinely, like some people are just not mature, or like they just have things going on in their lives where they just can't show up and be the best person that they're able to be. And, you know, you have to respect the fact that, you know, that person may not be there when you are ready, or you are in that space to be, you know, all the things that they need, and that they have already moved on, and, you know, be mature enough to realize that. But, you know, that people ain't gonna wait for you. But sometimes people are like, okay, like let's do it again, and it works. So more kudos to them. So as far as like being like a life partner, spending that block in that way, we just gonna bury the hatchet.
Okay. Well, this is the end of the interview. Do you have any last words that you want to say?
No, I mean, I'm just excited to look at this interview come next year, and just kind of look back at like who I was during this time, which is really why I wanted to do it, just especially after the crazy year, and just kind of like the pivot, and just to look back at a reflection of like how excited I was about what's to come, and, you know, what we talked about. So I'm excited about that. So thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you for being here again. Do you want to show or share your Instagram handle? Yes.
So Ah-Niyah Gold, it is AHNIYAH, gold like the color, on all platforms.
That is the end of this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Bye.